Hi guys! I haven't done like a just regular Disney video in a long time, and I feel like I need to go back to my nerdy roots and talk about Disney and Disney movies, Disney animation in particular. There are certain Disney movies that I think deserve the exact right amount of love and the exact right amount of dismay or disdain or even hate, like Chicken Little. Ugh. Ugh. But there are some Disney animated movies that I feel just don't get the right amount of recognition or love, or that people just don't even know that much about them. So today, I thought I would talk about what are, in my opinion, the 10 most underrated Disney animated movies. Number 10 is Treasure Island. Wait a minute, Liz, I thought you didn't like Treasure Island that much, and you would be right. I don't. But I know a lot of people do. And even I can admit that I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking movie, and it is severely overlooked compared to some other movies that are released during that time. I think it gets really lost in the shuffle for good or for bad. I really don't think it deserves to be associated with the worst that Disney has had to offer. I think it's just okay, but I know a lot of people see something in it that I don't. And I can admit that, yeah, it's a cool movie. It's really beautiful. I just wish I liked it a little bit more. Maybe I'll rewatch it. Maybe I'll like it more. But I think it deserves a little bit more recognition than it currently has. Next is Fantasia. This movie is low on the list, mostly because I feel like this movie gets a lot of praise and a lot of recognition from like a critical standpoint, and I don't think a lot of like casual people or a larger audience really knows this movie, and I think they're missing out. It is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and it's one of the best blends of animation and music that I've ever seen, and it's decades old. It is a very old movie, nearly, I think, 80 years old at this point, and it still holds up. A lot of that animation still looks great. So I think the praise that it has, it's definitely warranted. I just don't think enough people have seen it. Number 8 is Tarzan. The movies in the Disney Renaissance most of them are very famous, like The Lion King, like Beauty and the Beast, like Aladdin, like Little Mermaid. You will not see those on this list. But the latter half of the Disney Renaissance saw a lot of those movies, the fame of these movies taper off. And while Tarzan did really well when it came out, and I know quite a few people who really like Tarzan, I don't feel like it's this huge presence in the wider film community. And I think it's a really, really good, fun movie, but I feel like outside of like core Disney fans, not a lot of people talk about Tarzan. I think it's really good, but people don't really talk about it that much. Number 7 is Hercules. This is similar to how I feel about Tarzan, except Tarzan did better at the box office, so that's why it's lower on the list. Hercules is really one of the more forgotten movies of the Disney Renaissance. It's a really fun movie. Is it perfect? By no stretch of the imagination. It's so fun, and the music is great, and the characters are really fun. Hercules is a lot of fun. Meg is a lot of fun. Hades, my goodness, is a lot of fun. And like with Tarzan, I think people know this movie, and it did okay, but it doesn't get talked about as much as I think it should. Number 6 is Robin Hood. I really, really liked this movie, but like with a lot of movies that are released during the downtimes of Disney animation, this one just kind of gets lost. It's a lot of fun. It's not the greatest story ever told, but I really enjoyed watching it. A lot of people just don't really talk about Robin Hood that much, and I think that's a shame. Number 5 is Bolt. This is kind of similar to what I was saying about Robin Hood and, to a degree, Treasure Planet. It comes from a time where Disney was at a low point, but when Bolt was coming up, it was swinging back upward. It's right at the end of the changing of the eras of Disney animation. So where Disney still had not the greatest reputation, but it's before they have a great reputation like they do now. I think it deserves a little bit more recognition and a little bit more love. It's a sweet, fun movie. I know some people don't really like it that much, but I really enjoyed it. Number 4 is The Emperor's New Groove. This movie is kind of famous in like a cult way. A lot of people like it, but the people that like it are mostly in the Disney, like inner, like huge Disney fans. It's just one of those movies that people within the community really love, but I feel like it deserves more attention and more love because it's really funny and really cute, and it just deserves a little bit more love than it's awarded. Number 3 is The Rescuers Down Under. Now this is, to me, one of the definitions of Lost in the Shuffle. This movie is sandwiched in between The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, two of the biggest animated movies Disney has ever made. And this little thing, nobody talks about it. Nobody. It didn't do that well. People sometimes don't even consider it a part of the Disney Renaissance when it was released during that time. It's really easy to overlook it when you have Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid and Aladdin. And not only that, it's the sequel to another Disney movie that's not that fondly looked at that much anymore. To me, first and foremost, it's gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful animated movies to come out of that era, and people don't see it, and I think that's a travesty. Not only that, it's really cute, really fun. Bernard and Bianca are so cute, and again, not the greatest movie, especially when compared to The Lion King and The Beauty and the Beast and things like that, but it's definitely overlooked and it needs to be seen because it's a treasure and people need to realize how beautiful it really is. Number 2 is The Princess and the Frog. This is another big example to me of just lost in the shuffle. And there's a couple of reasons for this, mostly because it comes as it's the transition between one film era of Disney animation to another. It's not like the explosion that The Little Mermaid was, that definitely marked where that era begins, because there is a lot of debate of where the recession ends and where the revival begins. There's a debate, but it's definitely in that in-between. Also, it didn't do that well financially. It did okay. It did good, but it didn't do great. And compared to a lot of the movies, especially ones that preceded it, it didn't do that well. People didn't respond to it like they have responded to things like Tangled, like Frozen, like Wreck-It Ralph, like Big Hero 6, like Moana, like Zootopia. Do I think is as good as a lot of those movies? Not necessarily, but I think there's a lot of merit to The Princess and the Frog. It's gorgeous looking. It's a beautiful animated movie. The music is really fun for the most part, and I find some of the characters so fun, and Tiana especially, I think is one of the greatest role models Disney has ever created. And she is slept on. Y'all are sleeping on this movie. I love it so much, but it's really easy to overlook it when you have things like Tangled and Frozen and Zootopia and Moana and all these big movies that are great coming right after it. And number 1 is The Great Mouse Detective. Hardly anybody even knows this movie exists, okay? But it's by far my favorite movie to come out of the dark ages of Disney animation. It is so much fun. The characters are so charming. Basil and Ratigan have so much chemistry even though they're just animated characters. It's so much fun. People just don't even know it's there. They just gloss over it. And because this era was so full of either some pretty good stuff or really bad stuff, and nothing really remarkable came of it, except this little gem. This little gem. And I really, really enjoy this movie a lot. So there you guys have it. Those are my 10 most underrated Disney animated movies. Let me know what you think are some of the most underrated Disney movies. I want to know what your favorite underrated Disney movie is. Obviously mine is The Great Mouse Detective and also The Princess and the Frog. Mwah, mwah, great movies. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and consider becoming a patron if you do so. It would mean so much to me. Thank you to the people who have donated. I love you. And I guess I'll see you guys next week with a brand new video. Bye! Mwah.